But there were other guys that were there in the beginning, like Batman Davis, Mike Conception.
Raymond them, they was in another a gang called the Avenues. They left the Avenues, you know, because of a certain situation, and they just started calling themselves the Crips. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember no reason or no why they started calling themselves the Crips. Everybody coming up with their own assumption, but I know that at the time that we started and got it formed and made it into what it is today, it wasn't no reason. It just was a name.
The first casualty in this long war happened at this Hollywood nightclub in the early 70s.
Well, the first gang killing among this resurgence that started around 69-70 was in 1972 when Robert Bilal was killed at the Hollywood Palladium over his leather coat when about 20 up-and-coming Crip members physically assaulted him for his coat, and subsequently he died from the physical assault the following day.
And the biggest murder that happened was a guy named Robert Ballou. And when Robert Ballou died, getting stomped to death, his uncle was a football player, and that hit the news, and so that just sort of like made the Crips what it is today. From there, a lot of guys turned around, was getting beat up, and started forming their own little clique, which is called the Bloods now today. And things just got bigger,
The reason why we aligned ourselves with the Bloods instead of the Crips was the Crips had killed a boy by the name of Robert Ballou up at the Palladium. They beat him to death over a leather coat. We couldn't see no justification in that. And the Crips were growing, and the bigger they got, the meaner they got, the more senseless stuff that they did.
In Compton, Big Hub and the homies tell us what's up in the hood.
From Compton Boulevard to Rosecrans to Alameda, that's how big our hood was at first. Now it's expanding farther now. One time Compton PD said they used to hear the gunshots and wait till they finish shooting, then they'll come. Martin Luther King Hospital have the best bullet wound doctors in the United States of America. They have the best trauma in the United States of America. You know why? Because this is Gunshot City. I seen death by my eye 4 or 5 times.
West Coast gangster rap has done a lot to influence the spread of LA gangs across the nation and the world.
As far as gangster rappers, man, I'm not feeling that. It'll be hard for me to turn around and feel anybody to front like they're a gangster. I put some unnecessary work out there from 69 all the way to 85 and a little past that. You know what I mean? So it'd be hard for some guy to come in the 80s talking about he a gangster. And they all need to turn around and come together and quit acting like little old broads, and shit like this here, and leave all this stuff alone. If you're going to make music, come on, bring it on home. When the nigga turn around and advocate all that, kind of shit like they so hard and shit, it makes a real soldier know, man, that you nothing but a whore.
LA gangs have left the sunny streets of California and headed east, with affiliates popping up in cities across the U.S. and even overseas.
Other cities been forming Crips and Bloods since about the late 1980s. It started really with West Coast cities like Las Vegas, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, San Diego, San Francisco. They got Bloods and Crips in Germany. They got Bloods and Crips in Holland. They got Bloods and Crips in Paris. I travel all over the world, and I can tell, real LA gang members have been here. And then other times I could tell that these guys are copying something they saw in a magazine article or something they may read in Fed's magazine.
We had a saying way back, Crip or die. Crips don't die, they multiply. And we said that, but we never thought that it would turn around and end up in a situation like it is today, you know what I mean? That they did multiply, you know what I mean? Niggas started trying to go to other neighborhoods, out of the state to turn around and try to turn their life around, but then got caught up telling other people about what their life was in L.A., And, you know, when you turn around and go out in different states, you start telling them what the life was about L.A., then you start getting more guys around you, then you start getting more guys around you, then you just formed another gang. So you done cross yourself back in it.
Really, since the early 90s, you're starting to see, you know, a whole lot of West Coast cities, you know, East Coast cities. And when I mean East Coast, east of the Mississippi, places that you never thought you'd see Bloods and Crips, like in D.C., in Philly, and even in New York.
New York in particular has become a hotbed for LA gang activity, with leaders like O.G. Mac bringing the Bloods to the East Coast.
Again, I say that's the mentality of a child. A grown man would have more responsibility. O.G. Mac wasted a lot of time. He destroyed a lot of lives. He spreaded a lot of lies. What could he tell him? What could he tell the brothers in New York? All he could do is reciprocate something that was taught to him inside the penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? Which was a blood gang inside the penitentiary, but it wouldn't do any good on the streets of New York, because New York needed something deeper than that, needed something stronger than that.
Don't believe the myth, New York. Don't believe the myth, Chicago, Kansas, and all them other states. Don't believe that BS that y'all hear about Crips and Bloods. We're dirty. When it comes down to it, we ain't no damn good.
Programs like Jim Brown's American use former gang members and ex-offenders like Rockhead and Bobby Broham to get the message out that there's a better way of life.